The latest consumer confidence survey shows Americans' confidence in the economy slumped for the fifth straight month to the lowest level since the COVID pandemic. The Consumer Confidence Index fell almost 8 points this month to 86. Senior Industry Analyst Ted Rossman joins me now from Bankrate. Ted, why do you think consumer confidence is down?
It's really all about tariffs. People are worried about the high cost of living already, and anything that's going to add to that makes them concerned, especially when we look at those expectations moving forward. Generally speaking, people don't think the economy is all that great right now, but they're really concerned about moving forward. In fact, the average inflation increase that consumers are expecting over the next year is 6.5%. That would be pretty staggering given that inflation is currently in the mid twos. The Federal Reserve's trying to keep it around 2%. If we do see that much of a price jump, that could definitely tip us into recession. Now, even the fear that price behavior pulling back, others are trying to accelerate purchases before they get even pricier.
Oh yeah, and you notice it in the stores as a parent. I've noticed that, what things are the things that people are buying right now in the store. What are they just not bothering with? Of course, we're heading into the summer, so maybe we don't notice it as strong because the back to school shopping season will probably pick up a little bit. But what do you think this survey says about the economic forecast for the summer months?
Well, one thing that's important to note is that there's been a big disconnect in recent years between how people are feeling and what they're doing. So we definitely need to watch what they do, not just what they say. Consumer sentiment has been depressed ever since the pandemic, but a lot of the actual economic data has been better in terms of job creation, GDP growth, consumer spending. A lot of people have been spending in the face of these challenges, like high inflation and high interest rates. Now, there are some questions about can that continue if tariffs make things even pricier. Summer's an interesting example, though. We recently did a survey. We found 46% of U.S. adults are planning a summer vacation. And while that may not seem great, that's actually 1 percentage point more than last year, and 1 in 4 are still not sure yet, so they may end up going somewhere after all. There is this interesting divergence between what people say and what they do. Consumer spending has been remarkably resilient, but this may be the stiffest test yet because prices could be going higher on top of what's already been a lot of cumulative price gains.
Yeah, those bills, they do come due at some point. So what did the survey indicate about employment, your ability to pay off your bills? Will there be less hiring for jobs coming up?
The job market is so conflicting because on one hand, we have all these negative headlines about layoffs, especially in government, but also in tech and media and other sectors. Challenger Gray and Christmas say that the first 2 months of this year were the worst in decades for layoffs. But yet, especially in March, we saw strong job creation. We need to see if this continues, but that too is sort of conflicting evidence here. We hear about a lot of layoffs, but we also hear about a lot of hiring. Generally speaking, the job market's been a strength the past few years. The fact that unemployment is still in the low fours doesn't feel great if you're working and all of your costs are up, but the fact that people are working and their wages are going up has supported a lot of this spending that we're talking about.
What needs to happen to maybe give confidence to the consumers, that extra boost while they're out to say, I'm going to grab a couple more things instead of putting things back?
It's really all about that difference between wage gains and inflation. In other words, you'd rather have your wages going up 4% if inflation is 2 than if you get an 8% raise, but everything costs 10% more. We're still kind of playing catch up here. Wage growth has been outpacing inflation for more than a year now, but we're still catching up with all the COVID era craziness. Prices went sky high in 2022 and 23, and then they continued to nudge a bit higher in 24 and into this year. So it's really all about that cumulative effect. People need to feel like they're actually making real progress, that not only are they working and their wages are going up, but either prices are coming down or at least the wages are outpacing some of these price gains.
Okay, yeah, definitely people are, sometimes having to get creative. They're balancing when it comes to expenses, so definitely something to watch. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us here at 5.
No problem. Thanks for having me.